All right, let's talk about a model for community development that kind of flips the whole script on traditional aid. It's called CHEA, and it's this powerful strategy that starts with a really simple but honestly revolutionary idea. The most lasting change, well, it comes from within. You know, for decades, aid organizations have been wrestling with this one central question. How do you go beyond just short-term charity to spark real, self-sustaining transformation? This is the exact puzzle that the CHE model is designed to solve. So CHE stands for Community Health Evangelism. And I know what you're thinking. That word evangelism might throw you off, but it's not about proselytizing in the traditional sense. It's really about demonstrating a message of hope and value through action. It's a strategy that completely flips the old model on its head. So instead of outsiders showing up with all the answers, CHE gives local residents the tools to become their own experts, their own problem solvers, and really the drivers of their own community's future. So how does this actually work on the ground? Well, we're going to walk through the 6 key pieces of the CHE strategy. We'll start with its core engine, the training model. Then we'll see how that builds local leadership, boosts the economy, improves wellness, and strengthens the social fabric, all tying together into one big holistic approach. Everything, and I mean everything, in the CHE model starts with this one foundational idea. You don't just teach people, you teach people how to teach other people. This creates this incredible ripple effect, and it all kicks off with a program they call the Training of Trainers, or TOT for short. Now, this isn't some one-and-done workshop. It's a structured 3-stage journey. In TOT1, people get the basics, the core philosophy of CHE. Then in TOT2, they level up. They actually learn how to create teaching materials that are perfectly tailored to their own community's specific needs. And finally, in TOT3, they get into project management and evaluation, giving them the skills to make sure their hard work is going to last for the long haul. Okay, so once that first group of trainers is fired up and ready to go, the focus shifts to building the actual local infrastructure for change. And this is key. It's not a top-down system. It's all about creating a network of local leaders who have a real sense of ownership over the whole process. So 2 key groups get formed. First, you've got the committee. Think of them as the strategic brain trust, the board of directors. They get the big picture training, they oversee the projects, and they pick the second group, the volunteers. Now, these volunteers are the feet on the ground. They're the frontline educators, trained in dozens of specific topics, everything from hygiene to farming, which they then take right to their neighbors door to door, sharing knowledge in a personal, trusted way. Of course, you can't have holistic development without talking about money. So CHI builds in programs that are specifically designed to create financial self-sufficiency, helping people move from just surviving to actually thriving. For folks who have skills but just don't have the capital, there's micro-enterprise training. And this is where that holistic approach really shines. It's not just about learning business basics and getting some seed money. The curriculum actually includes lessons on things like moral values and integrity. The end goal isn't to create a dependency on loans, but to launch sustainable businesses that can lift whole families out of poverty. And that same philosophy applies to agriculture. I love this quote because it just perfectly captures the spirit of CHE. It says, the goal is to stimulate and help them develop agriculture using the skills and resources they already have. See? It's not about bringing in a bunch of foreign tech and telling farmers what to do. It's about sparking them to use the knowledge and resources they already have in a better, more effective way. The solution comes from right there at home. Now, as the name Community Health Evangelism suggests, health and wellness are right at the heart of this. CHE offers a huge range of really practical, sometimes life-saving training that the volunteers can share with their neighbors. For example, in places that have been hit hard by the AIDS crisis, the training doesn't shy away from it. It actually creates a safe space for people in the community to ask tough questions and get clear, factual information about prevention and care. It's all about empowering them to protect themselves and their families. Or think about this. In areas where there aren't any formal hospitals or clinics, CHE trains traditional midwives. It teaches simple, clean, and safe practices that can drastically reduce the risk of infection and death for both mothers and babies. It's a perfect example of working with the existing community structures to make them better and safer. And there's also specialized training for caregivers of people with disabilities. This program covers the practical side of things like physical care and how to prevent complications, but just as important, it reinforces the inherent value and dignity of every single person in that community. So, beyond physical health and the economy, The CHA model works to strengthen the very fabric of the community itself, tackling social issues, building better leaders, and getting the next generation involved. One of the most clever things they do is the Children's Development Program. It's a way to get the whole community engaged, especially when the adults might be a little hesitant to change. Kids learn about hygiene, social skills like anti-bullying, and moral values. And it's all made fun through big community events like a market day or a sports day, which gets everyone out and together. And as these communities start to grow and their projects get bigger, CHE offers training to help them scale up. This includes courses on servant leadership, teamwork, and even the nitty-gritty of how to form an official NGO to manage bigger projects and seek funding. It ensures the community's own efforts can have an even greater, more lasting impact. Okay, so let's pull all these different threads together. When you step back and look at all these different programs, you start to realize that CHIE isn't just a collection of projects. It's a truly integrated, holistic strategy for transformation. What makes CHE so powerful is that it addresses all these different areas at the same time: the economy, health, leadership, social issues, all of it underpinned by shared values. It recognizes that you can't just fix poverty or health in a vacuum. All of these things are deeply connected. And running through every single one of these training programs is this core principle: personal integrity. The committee members and volunteers are constantly reminded that if you want to lead change, you first have to be a good example in your own life. Change starts with you. And the model is just incredibly flexible. The source materials list this massive catalog of training modules you can use. I mean, everything from disaster preparedness and emotional care to environmental stewardship. The framework can be adapted to fit almost any challenge a community might be facing. So if there's one crucial point to take away, it's this: CHE is all about empowerment, not dependency. It's like that old saying about teaching a person to fish. But honestly, it goes even further. It teaches them how to manage the pond, how to build a boat, and how to teach the next generation to do it all themselves. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. In this whole global quest for development, for helping communities thrive, maybe the most powerful, the most sustainable gift we can offer isn't money or solutions from the outside. Maybe it's the knowledge and the confidence for people to discover their own. So, is the key to development not what you give, but what you teach?